So the new head of Xbox is one phone call away from someone who had direct contact with Jeffrey Epstein. I don't really know how else to start this video other than what is going on at Xbox between the mass layoffs, the restructuring, and everything else going on with that. A lot of developers are losing their jobs as is anyway, and yet people do like her because of some of the things she has done is really nice. Like, I remember she was at a conference or something and they're like, oh, by the way, these collector's edition Xboxes that we're making, everyone in this audience is going to get one. And everyone was like, whoa. But, there's also like the transparency that people like, because she was like, oh, well, we're just moving people around and all this other stuff. But there's still layoffs there, supposedly. But again, that also comes from the 14 layers of management. So, Xbox, I don't know what Xbox is doing. I'm going to be honest. I was never, part of the band of, oh, she's a woman, she can't run Xbox or anything like that. But I was also like, what is her plan? That was kind of the big thing. It's like, okay, Phil was kind of driving it into the ground, a little bit. The whole everything's an Xbox mentality, which, if you're part of Microsoft right now, you don't really want Microsoft to be associated with Xbox, even though they're technically owned by the same company. So it's weird. It's weird, and I don't like it. But I will say that Xbox really needs to get their stuff in order. They now own Bethesda. Doom: The Dark Ages should have been an exclusive. I was very hyped for that being an exclusive, and it wasn't. So, they need to start actually making games, and then especially with the beef between Halo or with PlayStation and the Halo thing, there was some small drama there, if I remember correctly, because they didn't show it, or I don't remember. I remember it had to do with the trailer. I just, I'm doing this off the cuff, so bear with me here. But I will say, what is her plan? I'm seeing a lot of this stuff where it's like, oh, she's doing great, or oh, she's doing bad. It's like, at this point, no one knows what she's doing, truly speaking, except her. My thing is also, if you're going to overhaul something like Game Pass, right, and you're going to adjust the price, I guarantee you they're going to raise it, because that's just how it is in society today. Game Pass was a really good choice for gamers who just didn't want to buy a ton of games and stuff like that, and people who wanted the option to just download things only. And I was okay with that, and they still did the physical stuff. But when it comes to structural stuff, and I said the 3,000 jobs cut, and some of the independent studios just gone, again, it's fine. I think if Xbox did actually prioritize exclusives, they'd have a leg up in the market, because I think PlayStation was getting a little too grab happy with how Phil was trying to make peace with PlayStation, and PlayStation was taking advantage of the sheer kindness of good old Phil, especially giving the keys over to Halo. That's crazy, by the way. That is the only Xbox exclusive that I can think of outside of Gears of War. I mean, that's on PlayStation now too, right? Forza. Has Forza gone to PlayStation? I don't know. But either way, you could get a decent amount of stuff on Steam anyway. You could get the Halo Master Chief Collection on Steam. You could get on Xbox. It's just, what does this reset truly entail? I think it's telling that, she's being transparent, and that's nice. I like that. I don't know why she's part of the Federal Reserve now. That was weird. I'll see that information. I'm 90% sure that's... let me just look it up. Yeah, why is this chick to co-lead a new Federal Reserve task force focusing on productivity and jobs? I don't. She's a new CEO at Xbox, and now she's working with the federal government. I'm sorry. What is going on here? And I'm saying this from a place of care. Why is she co-leading the federal government? You work for Xbox, a game company. It's not even like Microsoft, where it's a tech thing, or Tesla, or Nvidia, or any other kind of company. It actually makes no sense to me. It's at this point, she's gonna leave with a severance at Xbox and then just be head of a Federal Reserve or something, the Federal Reserve or something. Which, by the way, the Federal Reserve, for those of you who don't know the history behind it, it's terrible. Hamilton kind of just sold out the country to big bankers, and he's kind of a D-bag, gonna be honest. Yeah, I mean, that probably would explain why he has a Broadway play, because of course they're going to celebrate the guy that indentured servitude to everyone in the United States. So, yeah, it kind of makes sense, actually. But that aside, Xbox, I really have no idea what's going on. I want to know what's going on with Xbox, but this is how I would restructure it. Focus on exclusives, first and foremost. Second of all, make sure the consumer experience is good. And from what I hear, they're doing some kind of like digital license thing with games, and you put your disc into a drive and then it makes it like a digital license. It reads the disc copy and stuff like that. And it apparently does something. And, you know, like I could see that, you know, that's a nice transition to digital. I'm not a fan of going to all digital, but if I own the license and you're able to actually like give like a friend a game and they're able to put it in their console and then they have the digital license as if you have like a game key card via like, you know, kind of like Nintendo in a sense. And, you know, I can kind of get behind that. I don't like it, but I can get behind that more than whatever PlayStation's doing. So there's that. I would also focus on price for everything. They just raised the price of the Xbox and PlayStation to where now it's like, oh, Nintendo is like the cheap one. And I just, it's dumb. I can't believe it, but like Nintendo waiting it out worked in their favor because people were complaining about it. And now my Xbox Series X is now worth literally more than what I paid for it originally. Like it's insane. My PC is worth more than I paid for it originally, and I got it before the RAM price hike, and I was just like, whoa, because it spiked by like $1,500. I was like, I'm glad I decided to, you know, bite the bullet on that now. And what else? Honestly, focusing on games and user experience is kind of like the first and foremost, but you need exclusives. You guys own Rare, and you haven't done anything with Banjo-Kazooie after Nuts and Bolts. At this point, it is not hard to make a 3D platformer in Unreal Engine. Like, just get like a ragtag team to do it. Get the Yooka-Laylee group on it. I'm pretty sure they want to do it, especially after Yooka-Laylee Replay. It just seems like they really, really want to work on a Banjo game. like so bad, you know, just get the team back together or something. You know, I think a lot of people would really like that, or maybe just a remaster or something, you know, something to spark interest in Xbox again. Like, because Xbox does have exclusives, they just don't make them exclusive or do anything with them that are worthwhile. Like, okay, congratulations, you have like 7 Forza games. Like, I'm sorry, like how many people are like biting at the ankles for a new Forza game? How many people are biting the ankles for Forza in general? And all my Forza fans, I'm so sorry, it's just like I go into GameStop, it's like, oh, Forza 5 is like $20. Wow, Forza 3 is like 15. Oh no, like, you know, like it just doesn't matter to me. Especially since like race car games kind of just, I don't know, they just like, congratulations, you want to drive a race car without the lack of safety and training to drive a real race car, I guess, is kind of where I'm going with that. And it's like, it's true. It's kind of the same thing that I have with like simulator games. Like, oh, you play like Farmville? Why don't you just, you know, like, I mean, granted, if you own an apartment or something, I can kind of see the appeal of that. You know, but like if you're with your parents and stuff or something like that, and there's like a small plot of land, make your own garden, you know. Or it's like, oh, like I can wash the dishes in The Sims. I don't actually know if you can, but it's like, if you want to play life, go play life. That's always been my motto. I play games to escape reality, not enjoy reality. You know, like, that's kind of my thing. Oh, you playing cooking, mama? Why, like, go to the store, get some ingredients, and make cookies. Like, that's kind of my slice of life thing, where it's like, why am I playing a game that is tailored to reality? You know, like, yeah, obviously, like Flight Simulator. Okay, sure, you know, that makes sense. Not everyone has access to a plane or something like that, or you know. And again, if you don't have access to the thing directly tied to real life, then, you know, please disregard the rest of this whole thing. Point in case is that Xbox needs to focus on games. They really do. The problem is, she also just laid off like a dozen to like a couple thousand employees. So it's like, how are you going to fill that gap? Well, hopefully they hire people, but with how the industry is right now, how volatile it is, and how certain developers just, like, I'm sorry, like I've seen like new developer teams compared to like previous developer teams one set of, like, and I'm not being ambiguous on this one. You guys can kind of piece together what I'm saying if you really think. But like, okay, say you have one developer team. It looks like a ragtag bunch of, guys that have like a mission to make the funnest game possible. And next is a ragtag bunch of people where, they want to send a message versus making the game fun. And it's like, the message normally comes after the fun. You have to like have like a story with a beginning, middle, and end, not a beginning, a middle, and an end. Like, you have to have like something with like cohesion. And keep in mind, like, I've put pen to paper tons of times. I kind of know, what I'm saying when it comes to that. I mean, I'm not perfect, but like, these are AAA studios here, not like one-off YouTube knockoff channels or, like my game, for example, on Steam has like subtle storytelling through its environment because there's no voice acting and stuff like that, but there's like few text box that give like a premise to it. And, it's again, beginning, middle, end, it's like, it just boggles my mind. But, I don't know. Xbox, I'm going to be honest, like you have a chance to come back from something, especially with what Sony's been doing. And, Steam has been kind of tanking it as well when it comes to the Gabe Cube. But, if everyone has a PC, everyone's like, okay, the Gabe Cube's out. Like, like that's kind of people's gateway into stuff instead of building a PC. I can kind of get it. But, you're paying a bit of a premium for it instead of building your own, which not a lot of people know how to build a computer, which I don't know why in this day and age, but that's beside the point. I guess, if you're a boomer and you have a Steam account, you don't really want that. I can kind of see the small market for that, but, if you have a Steam Deck, okay, whoops, guess you don't need that anymore. You have a PC, whoops, like the Gabe Cube was meant to be part of a bigger ecosystem of Steam stuff, and I mean, it's like people are like fighting Steam constantly because it's a quote-unquote monopoly, but it's like, no, it's not. It's just they have a good product. That's the difference between a monopoly and not. Disney has a monopoly. Steam does not, But back to Xbox, I kind of, what were those rumors with like Xbox and Steam, right? Where like Steam was going to put their stuff on Xbox and stuff and vice versa, or Steam give access to Xbox. Can you imagine if Steam gave access to PlayStation and Xbox? It would like crush Nintendo under the weight, gotta be honest. But I don't know. I just I really don't know. I like, part of me really wants this to kind of pan out in a way where the console wars are kind of back and like developers are actually, fighting for players' attention. But given the current state of gaming, there are not many developers, and since the whole AI thing has been like going oh so swimmingly, especially with the art, the flock cameras, the data centers that are poisoning water. I'm gonna be honest. It beats me, like it's just I don't know where the current state of gaming is going, and it kind of upsets me a little bit. I spend all that time in college, wasted all that time in college. Sorry, just for some. I don't even want to call them DEI hires or something like that. They just didn't know what the hell they were doing. Like I'm dead serious. Like they just didn't know what they were doing, and it was very telling. They messed up my schedule like once or twice or whatever. The teachers didn't know what they were doing either. They just pulled up YouTube videos. Some of the other teachers only knew certain programs, not industry standard stuff. And it was just terrible time. So I would not be qualified to work in any game studio outside of my flimsy piece of paper, which is why I will always go to bat for people who have experience over things over a piece of paper. I'm sorry, like if you wave your piece of paper around and say, I have some knowledge of this, congratulations, good job, but you don't have authority over the subject, And that leads into, I guess, like authoritarianism. And this is a weird rant that I just went on to because there's really not much going on with the Xbox outside of, I don't know what's going on. Why is she part of the Federal Reserve? And, the restructuring is kind of crazy. But, what do you guys think? If you want an exclusive from Xbox, what would it be and why? Personally, I would like a new IP. I feel like a lot of people, when it comes to intellectual property, they don't create. Humans are innately stupid. You say, hey, make me something new, and most people in this day and age can't do it. They can't say, hey, make something different. Hey, make me whatever. And I feel like the mascot gaming genre has definitely died down. It's like that's pretty much it. I mean, like, there's no mascots, there's no new characters. I think like the newest character thing I could think of was like Splatoon, I think. Like, no one's creating things anymore because people are just like, again, they're just innately stupid. You can't write a story, you can't create a character, you can't do anything. And even then, companies don't want to pay people enough to do it. So indie developers, they're kind of picking up the slack. Like, I went to too many games, and Mr. Sleepy Man was fantastic. But other than that, it's just one thing after another, I guess. Anyway, guys, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, Halo 5 kind of sucked, I think, if I remember correctly. I played a little bit of it, but yeah, I wasn't really big on the Halo franchise. I know I want to play it all, but, like, I remember people saying it sucked. So, anyway, guys, let me know what you think down below. Okay, bye.